I don't know if you recently seen the video about that tree that was moving by itself in the Appalachia. Now, over the years, I've documented a lot of tree stories where it seems like these trees have a mind of their own. Now, this story comes out of New Hampshire. There was this man named David. David said him and his buddies used to go hiking and camping all the time in this particular spot in the White Mountains in New Hampshire. And he said this one night they decided, hey, let's go camping for a couple days. So they get in their car and they drive to the White Mountains. And they pull into like this parking area where there's a field and there's several trails. So it was about 9, 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, it's too late to hike into the woods. Let's just set up our tents right here. And then in the morning, we'll set out and find a place to camp. So they set up their tents and they get settled in. And David and one of his other friends decides, let's go for a little walk on the trail. So as they're walking down this dark trail, they come to this bridge. And after they cross over the bridge, they find kind of this weird looking area with all of these trees that have no leaves and they have these strange branches. And they're like, whoa, like I've never seen anything like this before. So they sit around in this area and they just start kind of like talking. And that's when all of a sudden they got this feeling like the trees were watching them. And they just felt really, really uncomfortable. And they began to hear like this whispering sound. And it sounded like all the trees around them were like whispering to one another. And out of the corner of their eye, they could see like slight movement, like something was slowly moving around. And that's when David's like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm not afraid of any trees. He walks over to one of these trees and he gets ready to kick the tree. But right as he does that, he feels a branch hit him on the back. So he turns around and was like, what was that? And he's like, I don't know. I think it was the wind. Let's get out of here. So him and his friend, they run all the way back to their camp and they get in their tents. Later that night, a really bad storm comes through and it's lightning and hailing. And they're just sitting in their tent, awake, waiting out this like heavy storm. Now, David has his tent like zipped open where the window is, and he could see outside. And out of the corner of his eyes, he could see what looked like trees moving around their campsite. And he could see the branches kind of just shaking and swaying in the wind. And for several hours this went on, and David and his friends were like terrified. The next morning they get up and they pack up their tents and they start hiking on this trail. As they get to where this bridge is and they cross it, that's when David's friend like freezes and is like, whoa, look at where we were last night. And as they look, the place they were standing in was an open clearing. There were no trees there. And they realized whatever those trees were, they moved.